Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games, the Week in Games. This is the weekly segment I do every once in a while that covers the topic of board games and the industry and general life things as well. How are you all doing? We are in almost the middle of September. Summer is in our rear view mirror, at least up in the Pacific Northwest. We had some scorching good days. We're going to have some days in the 70s, low 70s. For the next week or two, but it definitely feels like fall. Fall is coming, and that means more indoor time, which means more board game time, which means maybe I'll actually do more than one or two reviews every once in a great while. Life is busy. The fall weather, well, I've been spending a lot of time outside. There have been reasons for it, lots of external reasons. Don't you hate it when life gets in the way of your board games? It grieves my board gaming soul, but it was a necessity and an awesome one. So far this year, I have been to 6 weddings, been a participant in 3, have 1 more to go, 2 funerals, been an active participant in 0 of those insofar as they related to me being the target of said funeral. And that's it. We just finished up PAX. Any of you guys go to PAX up in Seattle? I had a few friends that went for all 4 days, but I stayed away this year. There's the PAX Pox that comes around, and I didn't want to get anybody sick. And then Gen Con. Anybody get some stories from there? I know for some of you who attended, I hear it was quite palatable. But others, hey, anything interesting? I'm excited for my next big conference is in February. I've already got my hotel booked. I've got registered. I'm set to go. It's the one and best that I go to. Although I am hoping to make OrcaCon up in Bellingham at some point later. Enough of me. Let's talk about some other things. Before we get to the news, I want to give some special attention to a few of my subscribers who I've had great dialogue with over the last few years, and I just wanted to kind of highlight some things that I thought were very interesting. Jeff, a guy from the other side of the Puget Sound, our little pond, has been interacting with me for quite a while, and he did something really cool. He's the one guy, like, I have Isafarian Guard, which is a great game, and I'm dribbling through it over time, but again, life gets in the way. He has played several hundred hours of Isafarian Guard, and man, sometimes I like watch or playing games vicariously indirectly through others when I can hear their tales and stories. This is one of that case. But he took a break to set up Merchants and Marauders, and I have to show you these pictures of this table and this setup that he has that I think is absolutely awesome. If you want to just get in the moment in that vibe, that would be that table with Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl in the background. That's my sweet spot. So great on you, Jeff, for doing that. Always fun having interactions with you. Also, I want to call out another a reviewer that I discovered. I'm a video guy because, well, I do a lot of typing all day long, and so hands tired. But there's a over on the big pond across the Pacific. There's a recent person that's contacted me that I'm enjoying immensely, who's doing a board game website with written reviews called Punchboard. Now, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I have really enjoyed it. He has a nice cadence of reviews that come out. He really works hard to make sure his reviews are concise and precise, and he works diligently on the craft of making his reviews precise and concise. And I think he's doing a really great job, so you might want to check that out. That's just something fun came along. And on the other side of the other pond, no, that was the Atlantic. On the Pacific, I have a friend in the Philippines who has been a long time subscriber who does his own called Ungeek, and I've had a little more talking with him recently because of People Power, the coin game that came out featuring the Philippines, with the Philippines as the topic of that coin game, and I got a chance to kind of check out his reviews, and I think he too is doing a great job. So anyway, always like to share the love, pass it along to a few friends and stuff, but enough blah blah blah, on to the news. Okay, we just got done talking about Isafarian Guard, but guess what? There's an Isafarian Guard reprint coming online. That's right, coming back online soon. I think it actually already kickstarted by the time you're even watching this video. So at 180 bucks, some people got that game for around 100 bucks. I got it for 180 as a late backer, and I still think it's a heck of a bargain. Like, talk about full. It's like a all-inclusive vacation where everything you need, both internal and external to the game, is done to the highest level of pamper and detail. Really like it. They've made a few fundamental changes to help with some of the critiques that they've gotten, particularly regarding the grindiness of it, which I think over time, as you're playing this game, it can get grindy. And so they've made some tweaks. They've got some new adventures. There's an upgrade pack for those who have the Isofarian Guard already for like $39 or something. But I highly, highly recommend checking this game out. It is exquisite, and it is the closest I've felt to playing a computer RPG on a table, without it actually being tabletop RPG. In other news, Voidfall is making its way to Landfall soon. I'm expecting to see that. It's an odd, quirky space strategy game. Strikes me a bit sort of like an Anachrony, kind of like detailed and complication. We'll see. We'll see. And Stonemaier just yesterday announced Apiary, which is a competitive worker placement hive building game about hyper-intelligent bees in space. Yeah, I would have guessed that too. Like, talk about like, haven't we had enough of those already? But any game that lets you teach new conversions through memorable dances is an instant buy for me, even if it gives me hives. So there you go. That's the news. Let's get to my question of the week. Okay, this is a question for you. I'm asking the question for you. Some of the peer reviewers that I've seen in different places, and this question came up from one recently. He asked me. He's like, "Hey, what are some good companies, or how can I get some inroads into getting review copies of games so that for me and my channel or my website and whatever and stuff." And I'm honestly at a loss because as some of my longtime subscribers and viewers know, I absolutely refuse to take review copies. I do not do it. It's like a hard-coded rule. I will always buy the games I review. I think that is, for me, it makes me feel good to be able to know that if I'm having opinions or about games, that I'm in the trenches with the people who are purchasing them. It is my money on the line. I'm not taking a review copy and then trying to think about other people. I'm actually in that moment, in the experience of going, I bought this game, I'm reviewing it based on my dollars being purchased, so that you can feel like it removes the entire issue of anyone saying you're a shill, you're just making a positive review because they gave you a free copy. All of that's just out the door when I can just buy my own game. Now, not everyone has been blessed to be in that fiscal situation. I may not even be in that fiscal situation. We never know what life has in store. And so for those people, I kind of wanted to ask some of you, because I know some people that are subscribed are reviewers. They do have, whatever conduits. What are the best companies, or what are the best ways for someone who's just starting out reviewing or has been reviewing for a while to get an inroad for review copies? I know literally nothing on the topic. I've only had 2 people approach me in the last 7 years and ask if I would review a game for them, and my answer was always no. I will not review it for free. I will buy it. I bought the copies of their games and then brought them in and reviewed them because it's that important to me. Money where my mouth is, and it keeps me honest. It keeps me from going like, because I tend to be very positive in my reviews. Why would I waste time talking about a game I didn't like unless I really didn't like it, in which case I'm doing it as a public service to warn people. That rarely happens. I'm usually a happy-go-lucky guy on camera. Anyway, let me know if any of you guys have some ideas to help my friend out. That would be great. Or in general, like, what are ways for people to get review copies, because it's just not something relevant to me. Anyway, let's get to the next segment. Okay. Playing, watching, reading lately. And I'm not going to lie, I don't have a lot of time. I swear to you I don't have a lot of time, but I did buy, not buy, but I did set up Merchant's Cove. And I set up all the pieces, and I put it out on the board, and then I put it all back in the box and decided I would take a look at it some other day. I don't know why I bought it, but I bought everything into it. I've even bought the master set coming out next year. It looks interesting-ish. I don't know if I'll really like it. I don't know if I won't. But anybody else tried it? Anyway, in Plantagenet, I did the unboxing for, and now I'm reading through the the background again, the War of the Roses, very intriguing. I have a friend over in England who we did a video conference, and she was able to show me as I was reading through Plantain. Someone taught me how to pronounce this in the unboxing too, and I still Plantagenet, plant agent, Plantagenet. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the comments. Whoever did that in the unboxing, thank you. But anyway, but I did a video chat with her. And she was able to like show me on Google Maps all of the different castles, and one she even lived by, and so that was really cool. I got my own like interactive video tour of a GMT game because of the friend I have over there. So I will dive into that and play. I love the Levy and Campaign series, so we'll see how that goes. Video game wise, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't help but buy Baldur's Gate 3. It's fantastic to install. It takes a long time, but it's worth it, I hear. I got to the opening screen, and I might even be able to play it by Thanksgiving. So I did pick up Starfield because, well, I'm a video game developer. I like video games. It's really cool. First couple hours are a little clinical, but not terrible. I'm starting to feel, if you go in thinking it's Skyrim or Fallout 4, it's not. Just think of it as something different. You will see bits and pieces of those, but it's not going to be that situation. And I think part of it's because in the 2 hours I've gotten to play it, which yes, I could have been playing board games. I did feel like, yeah, Skyrim and Fallout 4, if you go into Skyrim, grab a sword, go out into the world, there's a big map, you know exactly what to do after you get done with the cutscene. Fallout 4, after you get done with the cutscene, you go out, you can pick up a gun, you know what to do. Starfield is not that easy, but it seems to be progressively getting better and better, and I'm liking what I see. I'm liking the details, but I'm only a couple hours into it, so I could turn around and suck. I do say I miss the continuity. It is not an open galaxy. You'll teleport from place to place. That's just the reality. And there's that big, I really miss sort of the mapping. But you're not, I got spoiled with No Man's Sky, where you could land on a planet and then pop out into space and just have that seamless transition. I think it would have been better to, I like them both. Neither one's going to replace the other. Enough of that. What else am I doing? Books. I'm still going through The Unseen Realm. I'm actually reading it very slowly and taking my time because it's more of a study, and so I'm doing a lot of cross-referencing between scripture and that. And then I bought a book on advanced C and C++ compilers. I'm sure, I know you guys are dying to know how it ends. I'll let you know. Hopefully it's not a cliffhanger. And then finally, what movies? I'm still going through Doctor Who. I'm at season 7. Still going through that. Not sure how long that'll go. I decided to go back and rewatch the HBO's John Adams, which I think is still just wonderfully done. The characters just bring it to life. I think they just did such a good job with the casting. And then I just started episode 1 of Perry Mason season 2, which I think seems slightly different in vibe, but not too much different. So we'll see how that goes. Anybody else watched it? Anyway, let's get to Tumbleweeds of Time. All right, the year is 1976. I would be, I think, six or seven, depending on the month in that year. And that was, I remember famous birthdays. Who was born that year? Ryan Reynolds, who we all know from all of his crazy, smart alecky stuff. Most people know him from Deadpool. I think one of my favorite movies with him is one that is called The Proposal, with him and Sandra Bullock, and I know that's not like manly, but oh my gosh, I just love that interaction. I think, that one is a hoot. I think I watch it at least once a year, just because it's so stinking funny to me. He is so good at that kind of humor. Famous deaths. Agatha Christie died, and yet we don't have any mysteries surrounding her death? Apparently not. Oh, that's... And the popular slang term in 1976 was tood. Again, we keep coming up with these things that I think are much more modern. Like, you got a tood, man. What's with your tood? But no, that was from 1976. I don't know. I didn't start using it until at least like 1986 or I don't know. Anyway, the popular fad was Stretch Armstrong. Stretch Armstrong was... it was one of the few years when I actually got a popular toy for Christmas. because most of the time my parents would go buy like the budget stuff. I mean, we didn't have much for money. They'd usually, I mean, I would generally get arts and crafts some year for Christmas, and I was darn happy to have a Christmas. So it meant, we could buy walnuts, which I always liked, and that was one of the few times of the year when we would splurge and get like M&Ms with peanuts. So Stretch Armstrong was a big deal. And I was so happy because he would stretch, man. You could stretch him across the door. You could stretch him across your sister's neck when she was sleeping. My problem is I experimented with him during one of our cold snaps, and I left him outside because I thought, well, we'll see how, he's cold and I'm going to stretch him out. Well, if it's too cold, Stretch Armstrong doesn't stretch. Stretch Armstrong, it turns out, is an 84-year-old man wrapped in plastic who snaps. And so both of Stretch Armstrong's hands snapped off, and then when it melted, all the ooze came out. And then it wasn't Stretch Armstrong. It was just Stretch Strong. So, anyway, popular pun, since it was 1976, is the only year the Buffalo nickel was minted was in 1976 for America's Bison Tennial. That one wasn't as bad as the last few. Top song was Silly Love Songs by Paul McCartney. And the best sci-fi movie was Logan's Run. I haven't seen that in forever. I need to go back and see that again. The weirdest story was kind of sad. After Aunt Iola Walker received a message from God informing her that the second coming was at hand, the Nance family of Grannis, Arkansas stopped paying all their bills, including their mortgage, because they were certain that the end was soon arriving. Well, they began this vigil in September of 1975. 10 months later, marshals evicted them from their home, and they all had to go get real jobs and wait for, apparently, the belated second coming. Yeah, so, pro tip. Anyway, popular board game that year, 1976, although this was probably known well beforehand, but the official Parker Brothers Hangman game came out, which I remember. That year was a lot of mainstream games came out in 1975, 74, 77. 1976, surprisingly low amount of actual mainstream games, and a lot of war games came out in that year. Don't know why. So, and how many aardvarks lived in Oslo in 1976? 0. And that's it, folks. That's all, folks.